Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a camera that has actually kind of surprised me, the Fujifilm X-T20. I bought this camera in December, right before I went to Johannesburg. So a bit of history about me is I originally came from Johannesburg and then I moved to Cape Town in 2019. So I go back there just to see my family pretty much every December. I bought this camera from a store in Cape Town, but then I shipped it to Joburg since I was going to be there, and I took a lot of photos with this camera there, and it surprised me honestly, because I also have an X Pro one and an XH one, and this I think shares the same sensor as the X Pro one, the XH one, sorry. So a bit more about this camera. The reason I actually got it was because of the size of it. As you can see, it literally fits in the palm of my hand. I've taken it around town quite a few times now already, and it literally fits perfectly into my pocket. And I cannot believe how, it's not heavy. It doesn't, I used to have the problem with the XH one. It kind of fits in some of my jacket pockets, a bit of a monster, but it was really heavy, so my jacket always looked like lopsided, where this one, it's less obvious. Some people, I'll pull this camera out and they were like, where the hell did you get this camera? And I said, I stole it, just at the shop next door, but I didn't, of course. So yeah, it's really small, really nice. I got the TT Artisan 25mm f2 on here, so it's a really nice compact form factor. I'm hoping to get the 18mm Fuji lens soon, maybe towards March or April. I think that'll be like the perfect, it's about a 25mm equivalent on full frame. So I think that'll be exactly what I'm looking for and give me similar results to what my Nikon film camera does with the 22. I think it's got a 28mm on that. It's really small, really light. The dials are really nice. So it's got the 4000 shutter speed, and then it's got all the film selections. And I kind of like the way they've done the film selecting. The shooting selecting on this camera, because it's really quick and easy for me to switch between shooting images and then shooting video, where one camera I have is the ZV-E10, the Sony ZV-E10, and to switch between video and stills, it's such a pain, because you have to click the same button 3 times or twice or whatever it is, and that to me doesn't work. I prefer dials. That's why I've kind of gone back into why I'm such a big fan of Fujifilm, to be honest, because I've always enjoyed the film handling of film cameras and the dials and being able to set everything. And that's also why I still shoot manual focus. It's just because I'm so used to it, and that's pretty much what I'm most natural with right now. I do like autofocus though, don't get me wrong, but manual focus just gives it a bit more of an art. I kind of like having pictures being blurry or not, One other thing is the flash. I really like this little thing was such a surprise to me. When I bought it, I didn't even know it came with the pop-up flash. So to have this gives me a bit more of a, if I look for a certain style, a certain look, and I just want to get like a certain type of image, I have that built-in flash, which is really practical. And that's about it really. The back is standard. It comes with the flip screen, which is really nice. I think most Fujis come with this. It's the same one as my XH1. But the XH1 can go that way where this one can't. But that's fine. I don't really see a purpose in it. I guess the XH1 it makes sense because it's a much bigger camera. But this one, it's not really important. I would say I wish I had a fully articulating screen, just because I'd like to shoot YouTube videos with this, with me being in front of camera and no one helping me. But unfortunately, I can't do that unless I connect the app, or maybe try to run it through. I can't run this through as a USB webcam either, which is a bit of an unfortunate, but the X-T30 can be used as a webcam. I really like the viewfinder. One of the reasons I didn't like the ZV-10 is because it doesn't have a viewfinder, and sometimes I kind of just like to use it. I wear glasses with it, so it's stupid, but it's just nice to have. Let me just say that. And yeah, all the buttons are cool. The customizability of the buttons are really cool, really simple. I've built my setup to be very, very easy. But the biggest things for me is switching. Even my XH1 doesn't really do that too well, because it's like underneath the ISO dial, it's like a switch that you have to then select with, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's got the dials in the front, dials in the back. Really, really well built, really cool, really small camera. I'm really impressed with this thing. With the Fujifilm X-T20, you're getting really great quality photos. I think it's a 24 megapixel sensor, but it's the same sensor as I would get in my XH1. It's not stabilized like the XH1 is, but it's obviously, for the size that's okay. And it doesn't really, from what I've seen with the video side, it doesn't really have too bad of a rolling shutter. Obviously I'm not doing super actiony stuff with it, but like if I like to take videos outside of like me driving, and a lot of the rolling shutter that you get from the ZV-E10 isn't really in this, which is really nice. The film simulations are amazing, and the way that you kind of can set up the custom profiles as well in here is really nice. I was shooting straight JPEGs, but I've moved back to shooting RAWs. A lot of people don't like Fuji RAWs. Maybe it's because I have just been using Fuji. I don't really know the difference. To me, they're fine. I use Lightroom, and I have a whole bunch of film look presets based on actual film, from Agfa to Ilford to Kodak to Fuji to all of that. And I usually just use my RAWs and then pick and choose between what I feel would suit best for that picture to try and get that film look. Since film is getting so expensive, I have to be one of those people who kind of shoot digital, but at least I pay homage to someone who created film. You know, Fujifilm, they made film, they still do, you know. So at least it's a bit of, it feels a bit criminal, a bit piratey, but at the same time, at least I'm using the original brand to do it, you know. Really love the images that come out of this camera. I'm okay with the video. I find Fuji doesn't really have compared to my Sony's video is like immaculate, I guess, because it shoots 6K and then downscales it to 4K, where I assume this just shoots straight up 4K. The contrast it gets tricky if you want to do color grading and video editing. So I wouldn't recommend it to be like if you want to start a YouTube channel, I wouldn't recommend this camera for video. But if you want to shoot like specific moody video and nighttime video and stuff like that, I think this one is decent. I'm not going to say it's the best. There's definitely better options. It's capable of shooting good quality video. The image quality of this camera is amazing. It's beautiful. It's Fuji. Let's just say that. You can't go wrong with Fuji's image quality. Their simulations are fantastic. The grain, everything. It feels so nostalgic. It feels so clear. And yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And that's why I shoot Fuji. So when it comes to handling and performance, obviously, as I say, it's such a great small little camera that it's so easy to just whip out of a pocket. Like as you can see, I even have this wrist strap, which is super useful. It just lets me, switch it on, and then I can start taking pictures, and it's fantastic. I usually just shoot with auto shutter speed, just because it makes my life a lot easier, and then I just control the f-stops at the top here. I like to shoot quite shallow, so I usually leave it on that, but if it's a really sunny day, I will drop it down to about, f5.6, f8, and then it's a bit easier to focus as well, especially if it's a busy scene. I usually leave it on about 400 ISO. Sometimes I put it on auto, but I don't really like auto because it prioritizes really high ISO sometimes, and sometimes I don't want grain straight away. I want grain in post, or depending on the image I'm trying to get, Like if you think of it like an art form, it's a bit more of a texture. But you don't always need texture, because sometimes the image has a story in its own, and to add grain just makes it noisy. It's funny that I said noisy, but it's too much, let's just say that. The flash comes in handy even at nighttime. You can just pop it up. Even during the day, it's fine if you just want to get like an interesting looking picture. Of course, the style at the top is really cool. I like that I can use the single shot, the video settings, the double exposure, the panoramic. It's all like really right here. Where I find some other cameras, like my X Pro one, it doesn't even exist. I think I have to kind of dig into the settings. And the X-H1, it's that weird, it's like a button. Not really a button, but like a slider underneath the dial, and it doesn't, I guess I have really big hands, so it doesn't feel as natural as just being able to do this, And yeah, I think that's about it really. It's got the exposure compensation, which I try to use sometimes if I want to just underexpose a bit to push up shadows later, but I rarely use it, because if I have a film setting, it's built a specific way already in the camera itself. Definitely for street photography, for any sort of photography really, I would suggest this camera. Even if you're just trying to buy a one-off camera and have good video quality, good image quality, something that even if you just shoot JPEGs, as Fuji is known for, its JPEGs are so good. Literally everything, I take this camera everywhere. So far, if I go to a shop, if I go down the road, I'll take it with, just because you never know when you want to take a nice picture. I think it's quite similar in size to an XE, like an XE1, XE2, XE3, all of them, except the fact that it has the viewfinder at the top instead of like the rangefinder style. But I think that's okay. There's something nice to this like vintagey looking SLR look. I've always enjoyed it because I shoot mostly SLRs with film. And the rangefinders that, I mean, I can't buy Leica, I can't buy all the rangefinders that I have of film are quite old. I think they're based in the 50s or the 60s, and they're quite big and chunky, you know. So this feels a lot smaller, a lot lighter, very practical, very clear, very crisp, great image quality, and the manual focus with the red lines. I use the red lines. It's fantastic. It's really fantastic. And I think it's an underrated Fujifilm camera. I think that if you're trying to get into Fujifilm and you're trying to get something that's small, light, easy to carry around, this is possibly a better shout than all the other ones. Thanks guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my review of the X-T20, comparing it to other cameras. If there is any other questions that you might have, please do ask in the comment section. Please leave a like, please subscribe. Your support really means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope that this video was enlightening and that it helps you in your decision making for your next camera. Peace.